How did you meet?
We met in elementary school and were around each other for about 6 years during that time. Got out of elementary school and didn't see each other for 39
Or
years.
taking the bar exam. Gosh, it was back in 2001, I guess, 2002, something like that. And Natalie was actually out on a date with my roommate, and I was on a date with
We
my
met
girlfriend
through
at the
a
time.
mutual friend. She was roommates with a girl I worked with years ago.
How long have you known her?
Met up by accident on the internet, and just 6 months or so later we're married. So that covers 30 years or 40 years
A
almost.
dozen years now, 12.
I've known her for about 25 years. We've been friends for a long time, but we didn't start dating until about 17 years or so after we met.
What characteristics do you believe that she might have which might be different than a non-survivor?
She's just stronger and handle the situation with the past and what's happened and all the little trigger points she has and all the little disappointments with children and everything that happened. She just grew through that and survived it.
Is that you're much stronger, I think, from some of the bad things that happen, in your life, and you're much more persistent. I think that's one of the things that I've definitely noticed is that would be a bit different.
I think she's stronger because of it. I think she's more resilient. I think she doesn't sweat the small things because of what she's been through. I think when you go through something like that, it has to make you stronger.
How do you believe her domestic violence experience has affected your relationship with her?
Understand better. People are so lost, and it's very unfortunate, and it's not male or female, it's everybody. You talk to them, and everyone has the tendency to talk to someone that approaches them that's in trouble, and they instantly become an expert, and you need to do this, and you need to do it. Well, they're being just as bad as the abuser was in so many words. I know what's wrong with you, and let me fix you.
There would be certainly a way that affects us. I always thought that because of some of her past relationships, she had some trust issues, so I always thought that was kind of an issue. She was always, still is, maybe not as much so, but hypersensitive to aggressive or any violent behavior, whatsoever, even if she's seeing other people doing it. Certainly that is a little different, but I would say those two things mainly.
Well, early on, when we got together, she seemed to be a little more fearful. She would lock doors like crazy. And as the years went on, I think she's sort of adapted a little more and lost those fears to a certain degree. It's like she went through changes you forever.
What traits does she possess which might be different from a non-survivor?
She puts herself on the other side as far as a man's position and or a woman's position, as far as who's got the responsibility, and she's just more keen on how she needs to be versus how I need to be so we can be.
She didn't quit on life, so to speak. She used it as kind of a positive, in a way, to help other potential people out who were victims, and men, women, and children who are victims, try to help them out as well. But I certainly think that she's a stronger woman, because of it.
Well, I knew her before this happened to her, and I know her after, and without a doubt, since this experience, she's stronger. When she gets her mind to something, she gets it done. She doesn't back down from a challenge, and I'm very proud of her for that.
Do you believe that you have overcome more obstacles because of her past domestic violence? And if so, Can you tell us about some of those
I think
obstacles?
it's just made us both very aware. And that was what I was trying to say a while ago. She puts herself in someone else's position just like I would or you would or whatever. It becomes real. Once you've gone through it, you never forget it. And it's just real, and it makes for a totally different relationship.
But certainly early on in our relationship, there was some trust issues. If we disagreed, arguments were certainly difficult, because we didn't want to. I didn't want to make Natalie think that it was an aggressive kind of behavior. We just disagreed.
What have you learned about domestic violence since knowing her?
That it is, right now, I think it's 1 out of 3, which is incredible. And there is just a growth in it because of the economy and because of lack of standards and lack of family, and you just go on and on and on. And it's a small wonder why it's getting to the point that it is. But it's got to get turned around, and that takes men and women working together, not just women. The men have to step up and do the right
Learned a
thing.
ton. I mean, obviously we started the charity, and so we've learned a ton about behavior of abusers and behavior of victims, about how it affects 1 in 3 to 1 in 4 women, the numbers are ranging from like 1 in 7 to 1 in 9 men will be a victim or be around domestic violence. So I've learned a tremendous amount about domestic violence, and that's why we started this
Learned
charity.
that it's a lot more than just some people fighting in a house. It's about control, and it's about humiliation and intimidation, and so there's a lot more to it than I ever understood.
What do you admire about her the most?
Carolyn does more in a part-time capacity than a lot of people do in full-time. She just works tirelessly. There's never a night that she's not sitting in the chairs, make you think she's watching TV or something, and she's over there going wide open, answering this, answering that, responding to this person. It's just a constant drive.
She's just tough. I mean, she's overcome a lot of things. She's persevered, and one of the other things too is I think if there's a silver lining that you can pull from her background, is that she's used some of these bad experiences to go out and help other victims. To go out and try to make a real positive impact on some people who are not doing well. And I think those are some phenomenal and admirable qualities.
She's a great wife. She's a great mother. She cares about people. She's generous, and I'm always impressed with her strength and how she handles things. And I couldn't be happier.